Man, there really was some stuff about this that I got all mixed up. Hello, everybody. I am the Spearman, the embracer of human good and analyst of fiction. And I was just rewatching the very movie that I did a reenactment for yesterday, and man, did I get some things wrong. But I was still so happy to see this again because I missed seeing this film. I have missed seeing it in forever. So, yeah, all said and good. Thank you for your time, good old elf. And now, for today's video. The movie of today's video, I should say. Do you guys remember a little sequel from the late 90s? Back in the glorious age of Disney sequels. A particular one from 1998, I believe, called... Let's see here. There it is. Do you remember a little movie called Beauty and the Beast and the Enchanted Christmas? Yeah, I know. This movie kind of has a bit of a bad reputation. And, okay. First of all, I do agree that this movie is nowhere as good as the first movie, as the original. But I would also like to argue that the original has its own fair share of problems. But from what I do remember about it, it really wasn't that bad of a film. In fact, I really liked it, from what I remember, that is. Hey, sorry, I'm entitled to my opinion and all that stuff. Okay, can't get into that sort of territory. Not just yet, at least. I remember renting it. I think my grandparents rented it from Netflix or Blockbuster or something a long time ago. I watched it, and then I watched it from time to time over the years, and then stopped watching it altogether, along with countless other movies. But just recently, as I was preparing these Christmas videos, a friend asked me what my review was about this, and the last time I even heard or watched anything about it was from Disney December reviews, or someone else talking about this movie and talking really bad things about it. And the way I summarized my short review to my friend here was, it was pretty good. It had a better villain than Gaston. That's right, I said it. A better villain than Gaston, with the Maestro Forte character, the giant organ character voiced by Tim Curry, but I'll get to that in a bit. So, this movie, I don't think it really has a complicated story. It's simple enough to explain, in a sense, like other Disney movies. Probably much easier to explain than the original movie, and yeah, I felt that it was important to acknowledge the 20th anniversary for this year, as it is in your time, that is. Remember, alternate universe here. And here's my What I Remembered skit video of Beauty and the Beast and the Enchanted Christmas. So let's get started now. Okay, so we start off with a flash forward, if I'm using that word correctly, or present day sort of scenario, with everybody at the Beast's castle, or Adam's castle. That's his official name, is Adam. Preparing a big Christmas celebration, get-together, whatnot, with a cute little French girl singing, "No, no, 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 mistletoe." And Cogsworth and Lumiere, good old Cogsworth and Lumiere, have a fight about who saved Christmas last year, which was when the spell was still over the castle and all its inhabitants and so forth. And Mrs. Potts and Chip, good old Mrs. Potts and Chip, they come in, and Mrs. Potts has to explain the story to Chip and to everyone as to what happened last Christmas, the Christmas that was saved, per se. So then almost the entirety of the rest of the film is just this big flashback, which just has to start with Lumiere going, "Wait, that's where I came in." And the real story of this sequel, per se, more of a midquel, obviously. I mean, hey, unlike Tarzan 2, this movie has the decency to not have a 2 in its title, let alone 3 when it comes to Belle's Magical World, but I'm sure that's a whole different story entirely. So in the real story, Lumiere, Cogsworth, and friends, all the Enchanted friends, everybody's watching Belle prepare to ice skate with the Beast during her extensive stay at the castle. Which, by the way, does anyone wonder how long she actually stayed there? Especially considering that very early on, like barely a day or two after she started staying at the castle in the original movie, Papa goes looking for her, and Gaston tries to set out his big plan to have Belle as his own, with Lumiere keeping watch. Yeah, this happened before Belle supposedly stayed at the castle for weeks, or even months, or at least days. Didn't quite think about that, did you? Just saying. So they're ice skating, and while they're ice skating, we have the Tim Curry character, Forte, Maestro Forte, who became this giant organ thing, and this giant organ thing is freaking cool, especially for a 90s direct-to-DVD, direct-to-video animated film. This giant organ piece character is still really impressive to look at. I mean, sure, if I watch it again, I'd probably see a little bit of technical flaws here and there, some bigger than others, but it's still pretty cool. And Forte explains to his little henchman or compatriot, whatever, Fife, that was his name, Fife, the little fife dude who's literally a fife, I think, or whatever instrument he is, flute or whatnot. He explains to Fife that before the enchantment was placed over the castle, the master treated me as poorly as anybody else, but now he needs my music. I am his best friend, and if Belle helps to break the enchantment, I will lose the master's friendship. I must have it, and you're going to sabotage them. So Fife tries to sabotage them so that Lumiere can give him his own solo or something like that. It doesn't work. It works out terribly, and Beast is reminded what a monster he is because of the shape of his snow angel and whatnot. And Belle starts to prepare Christmas stuff for everybody, much to Cogsworth's shock. Because, and Chip, who at the time had no idea what Christmas even was, which is really confusing when you tie certain other things together. But I think the Beast finds out at one point and forbids Christmas right on the spot. But, Belle still tries to plan Christmas behind everyone's back, even though Cogsworth specifically says, the master has forbidden Christmas. And Belle's all, but no one can forbid Christmas. She, works together with this big chef, stove, enchanted machine guy, and others to make Christmas celebration stuff happen with ornaments and decorations and all. And from what I remember, the Christmas decorations were pretty much alive as well. Let's see here. I think the Beast finds out again what's going on at the same time as he's consulting with Forte about his pain and all, his loneliness and isolation stuff. And they actually have a flashback. They actually show what happened, how the enchantment began in the first place on Christmas Day or night of all times, of course. And the Enchantress cast her spell, who was voiced by Mandy Moore of all people. Neat little trivia there. But it's also a bit confusing with how Chip was there at the time, turned into a teacup, even though he's a kid, and the enchantment's been on the castle for years, and whatever. It's all complicated stuff. We don't have time for that stuff, that continuity stuff. So Forte convinces the Beast to continue hating Christmas, because Christmas sucks and whatever. And there's a big irony in, nah, that's not irony. Belle is making a Christmas story for him to read, which somehow fits in this big book. Go figure. the Beast finds out again about the whole Christmas setup, which he's infuriated about, and he makes this little speech to Belle about, you have no idea what it means to feel pain, do this, do that, to feel like a prisoner, Belle said, reminding him that she is a prisoner, she's still his prisoner and has been all this time, even after he saved her from the wolves. And the Beast just, ignores her again. And Belle, continues the Christmas setup and all. And then, but I think she also gives Beast the book that she made around this time. And then she meets with Forte. And I think Fife leads her to Forte, I think. And Belle and Chip meet Forte, who talks about how wonderful it is that she's doing Christmas setuping and so forth. And he manipulates her to go look for a Christmas tree in the dark forest right outside of the castle grounds. And Belle is hesitant because she's forbidden to ever be there, or else she'll be locked up for good. No freedom at all around the castle, around the grounds, or whatever, around the premises whatsoever. But because she cannot find a tree on the grounds itself, a good enough Christmas tree to use, she reluctantly accepts Forte's advice per se, goes out and looks for a Christmas tree. In fact, it was during her cutting of a Christmas tree that she actually heard Forte's music being played and following it. I just remembered that. But things go really badly, Belle and Chip, I think it was just the two of them. They get attacked by wolves again. Belle seems to have a bad affinity with wolves for some reason, and they almost drown underneath ice and stuff. The Beast barely saves her, but she's not even close to being as safe as she was before, because now the Beast locks her in the dungeon. And there's this nice little sad transition of her being locked up and stuff, and she says, "You will always be a beast." And she's being confided with by all her enchanted friends, including this French angel Christmas decoration, which how the hell did she even become a Christmas decoration to begin with, of all things? And she was so adamant about being against Christmas before, but now she realizes she was wrong, and they sing this little song about Christmas and all. And just as Forte convinces Beast to destroy the Enchanted Rose, the Beast suddenly spots Belle's gift and reads about basically Belle's perspective about how she sees the Beast, and that what keeps the Beast going is hope. And this touches Beast's heart, and he goes out and decides to unlock Belle from the dungeon despite Forte's protests. Master, what are you doing? She's poison! She's bad! Come back, please! Come back! And Beast frees Belle from the dungeon, asks for forgiveness, and then excitedly claims to everybody, "Let's give Belle the Christmas she's always wanted. How about it? Yay, yay!" But it's not over there, because now Forte has to have his moment. First, it's all gloom and doom for him, and he's monologuing to himself. So that's how it ends. Belle and Beast get together. All is happy. Enchantments lifted. Forte is left in the back. Forgotten. I think not! And Forte, they actually foreshadowed this earlier in a bit of a clever way, where he had a particular number on his piano where he was going to bring the house down, and he's using it now to destroy and kill everyone in the castle out of pure spite for all the pain he went through in the past and so forth. And it's even revealed to Fife that the solo he was fighting for didn't even exist. It was blank. Poor little guy. And I remember Forte, as he was torturing Fife with his music, with particular evil music or whatever, he tells Fife, "You're second fiddle, Fife, and that's all you'll ever be." And Beast knows, as the castle is literally being torn apart by this piano number, Beast realizes right away who's doing this. Forte! He reluctantly abandons Belle like an asshole to go try to fight Forte, telling him enough. And Forte just mocks him, going, because he no longer gives a shit. He no longer gives a shit about his master's confinement with him. Oh, not confinement. I'm sorry, that was the wrong word. his master's friendship with him per se, and goes, "Oh heavens, master, you're not singing!" And then tries to kill the beast on the spot. Belle catches up with Beast and tries to help him get closer to Forte, while everyone else is trying to keep the Enchanted Rose safe. Oh, because they can't let it fall over. They can't let it break. It's all intense and stuff. Oh, be careful! And the Forte's going, "Is this happy enough for you, master? I know. I'm downright giddy!" And Fife tells Beast, Master, the keyboard!" And then, as Forte's laughing his evil laugh, he seems to have won. He seems he's going to kill everybody and have his ultimate revenge. The Beast slowly barely manages to reach the piano and lift it up. And then he crushes it, and Forte gradually loses life. And as soon as the piano is destroyed, he literally loses his life in a matter of seconds and topples over, losing breath, letting out one last cry, "No!" And there's this really touching moment as we have one last shot of the destroyed Forte, the destroyed organ now, just laying there, while Beast looks on with Belle saying just one word, "Forte." And the climax ends, and the resolution basically sums up the celebration that Beast and the Enchanted people have with Belle. And it's all wonderful and nice. And then we cut back to the present, where Mrs. Potts has finished the story, proclaiming, if anybody saved Christmas, it was Belle. And she couldn't be more right. Belle did save Christmas with her pure heart and perseverance and all that good stuff. And then Prince Adam and Belle come in, proclaiming, "Merry Christmas, one and all." They give Chip a Christmas present, which is a storybook, of course, because storybooks are the best in Beauty and the Beast's world. And everyone continues celebrating while Adam and Belle walk outside. Adam gives Belle a personal rose, not enchanted, thank God. And Belle, of course, loves it. There's no words. There's just expressions of love in their eyes and their face. I think they kiss, and the camera, the animated camera, whatever you want to call it, pans up into the sky. Maybe there's a master shot showing the castle one last time, maybe showing the end and whatnot, and the movie ends. So yeah, first of all, might as well say this right now. Did I remember that right? Is that how this movie happened? I wish I owned my own personal copy. Again, I first watched it on a Netflix copy that my grandparents rented a long time ago, and I've barely seen parts of it over the years since, I've only seen clips of it on YouTube from time to time in the distant past, and that alone was a long time ago. This was a really, really good film. It was a pretty solid film from what I remember. I honestly don't understand why people are so against it, why there's so much hatred for this film. Is it just because it was one of many unnecessary Disney sequels from the 90s and 2000s, per se? Was there just so much hate that nobody could even soften up for a Christmas-themed Beauty and the Beast movie that may or may not fit in with the Beauty and the Beast canon for the most part? Whatever. Yeah, it could have been better. They could have kept the continuity much more straight instead of pretty narrow and pretty wacky. They could have done certain things here and there better. But honestly, I don't find much problems with it, except for that that compared to the original film, there wasn't as much effort. I mean, it's a direct-to-video sequel. What are you going to do? You only have so much budget and all. But I've babbled on enough about this film. Honestly, go see it. If you don't like it like the rest of the world, fine. That's all good and dandy. But if you're an optimist like myself, I'm sure you'll find plenty to like more than there is to hate about this movie, including the Forte character by Tim Curry. Tim Curry was absolutely awesome. Very menacing and much more delightfully or deliciously evil compared to Gaston, who was pretty much just a guy desperate for a trophy wife. That's all I can say about that right now. But go check it if you haven't and judge for yourself whether it's good or not. And thank you so much for joining me on the second episode of the Spirit Man's Christmas 9. We've got plenty more for the rest of the month coming up. And yeah, see you next time. I am the Spirit Man, the embracer of human good and analyst of fiction. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh, and of course, happy December to all. Gotta throw that in there.